Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to the call for tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and put the live link in the Facebook group here, and just let you know we are live. Um, we're going to start with your questions. And then I do have some prepared remarks as I have been talking about. I want to talk a little bit about the software buying decision-making process. And this is something that I have covered probably not in detail before. I've danced around this in some discussion that I've done on theory of constraints. So if you have any questions about PLR in particular, you can go ahead and put that in the box here. And I'm going to, if you have any questions, you can just write them there in the box. Victor, hello. Good to see you. Yeah. And so if no one has any questions about PLR, we'll get started here in a minute. Hopefully you can see my screen. So tonight, what I want to talk about is The Theory of Constraints by Elihu Goldratt. And if you have ever read the book called The Goal, or you have done anything in this area, you probably are familiar with this book. It's a book about a factory and how they were able to just kind of figure out what was going wrong. And in this factory, they had the best equipment that there was, but something was happening where they were not profitable, and something was happening at the point in time in the process to slow them down. They couldn't really even figure out what was happening, right? Let's see. So before we get started, see, Victor has a question. So what is the quickest way to get PLR videos rebranded and uploaded to my blog? Okay, good question. Okay, so to get PLR videos rebranded and uploaded to your blog, what I would suggest that you do is that you record what I call a bumper. So in other words, you do an introduction, and you record that on Camtasia. You record it with your iPhone if you want to. And you record an introduction. You can either do an introduction to each individual video. In some cases, that would be difficult if you have a large course. And we just did OptimizedPress. You wouldn't probably want to do that for 50 videos. But what you could do is you could record one bumper for every for the entire course. So in other words, you could say in the introduction something to this effect. We're about to hear from a trainer. He's going to be talking about OptimizedPress. And one of the things you want to consider about OptimizedPress is that, and you go into sort of how you would put it in context, and you put that at the beginning of all your videos. You record that, you splice it onto your video. You can use Camtasia, or you can use any video editing software. And then what you're going to do is you're going to record what I call a back bumper. And then that back bumper is basically going to say, you now heard from our trainer. Here are some things to remember about OptimizedPress. And so what you want to do in that back bumper is you're trying to put everything that the speaker said in context. And you have to remember that you're doing this for all the videos. So you sort of have to be generic. Now, the best way to do this, quite honestly, is to record a front bumper and a back bumper for every video that you're going to upload to your blog. So in other words, even if you buy 50 videos, if you're trying to brand your business and you're using PLR videos, the effort is going to be worth it for you to individually record a front bumper and back bumper to the PLR videos, and then you put that video in context. So whatever your niche is, let's say that your niche is the CPA marketing niche, but yet you bought OptimizedPress videos, then you have to put OptimizedPress in context to your niche, and you do that in the front bumper and the back bumper. And when you put those front bumpers and back bumpers on, use a video editing software. When you're done, then that's what you use to upload to your blog. And what you've done is, in fact, you've put your voice onto your actual videos. Okay, does that make sense, Victor? Okay, so while he's answering that, um, okay, yep, put it in context. All right, great. Okay, uh, uh, so I want to talk about a software purchase equation. Now, I don't do this. I don't do this physically every time I get ready to buy software. All this is kind of going on in the background of my brain, and it actually goes on in the background of a lot of people's brain. And I didn't get this. I didn't originate this. This really came from a purchase decision and everything that Dr. Goldratt talks about in theory and constraints. And again, if you want to study this, you have to read The Goal by Elihu Goldratt. He's now passed away, but this has been out for some time. And anytime you start an MBA program, the first book they tell you to read, typically in the operations course, is going to be The Goal by Goldratt. I'm going to talk about the software purchase decision tonight. I'm also going to talk about what you have to know to make a good decision about software. Right? What do you have to know to make a good decision? Sometimes it's not what you think. So it's not going to be, whether or not you've got the right, server and all that stuff. I mean, all that stuff's important, but it's not going to be as important as what I'm going to be talking about tonight. I'm going to talk about what happens when you have a bottleneck. And this is what happens to every marketer at some point. You're trying to come up with a way to get your USP into the market, right? You're trying to find a way to get people to see your USP so they'll buy from you. And so, and everybody, when they try to do that, they hit a bottleneck, right? They hit something that they have to do something different in order to overcome an obstacle. Every marketer is going to reach an obstacle that they're going to have to do a little something more in order to overcome, and that's what's called a bottleneck. I'll talk about that here tonight. We're going to be talking about eliminating constraints. And then we're going to be talking about finally the purchase decision. So the purchase decision, I think I said that we would talk about how you can make a decision to create or to purchase good software. And so basically we're asking this question: should I buy this software? And I'm sharing with you something that goes on in my mind, in my brain, when I go through the purchase decision, and I think it'll help you if you think about things this way. And here's a little equation. Now, once again, I don't go through this equation. This equation is running in the background. It's sort of running on my DOS, or it's running on my Windows, whatever the case is. It's running in the background of my brain, right? And it's called software cost equal the time cost equal the money cost equal opportunity plus opportunity cost. In other words, software cost equals time cost plus money cost plus opportunity cost. And all those things are the things that you're actually going to be paying for when you buy a piece of software. And sometimes we don't necessarily think about this in these terms, but this is what kind of causes people to think they have shiny object syndrome. Really, they probably made a good decision. They just didn't think about the entire cost. Software has a cost, right? Software has a cost. Would you agree? If you're watching by YouTube, just write in yes. Would you agree that every piece of software, new or used, takes time for you to learn how to use it and to implement it? Right? There's a time factor. So it's gonna cost you some time to get it up and running. You might have to spend some time in a in the Facebook group. You might have to spend some time on the user forum. You might have to spend some time on YouTube. But it's going to take a time. There's a time cost involved. There's a money cost involved. And typically, most of us understand that part. And typically, we buy during a launch because the money cost is cheap, right? The money cost is cheap. And so somebody says, well, you know what? The price is going to go up at midnight, and we're not going to go back on our word. And sometimes that's true, and sometimes that's not. But that's not even the issue, right? It's the money cost. The money cost is just only one thing. And then there's the opportunity cost. And this is really important to understand, the opportunity cost, because anytime you get software and you decide you're going to implement it, you're going to give up what you started before you started implementing the software. So in other words, you were already working on something, and you're gonna stop doing that to learn the software, to implement the software. And when you do that, you're going to give up the progress you make. Does everybody understand that? Does everybody understand opportunity costs? So whatever you would have been, whatever progress you would have made, right, working on something, you give up that progress when you actually buy some software and you decide to implement it. So there's opportunity costs. You have to factor that in. Now, I want to talk about the software purchase decision. And typically, here's what goes into a software purchase decision. And if you see something up here that is that looks like something you've said in the past, I want you to put the number 1 in the question box. Right? If you have said any of these in the past, put the number 1 if you see one that you've said. Number 1, this software does something I've been wanting to do. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and buy it. Or this software does something I'm now doing, but it does a lot easier, right? So I'm going to buy it, right? Maybe you've said that. Maybe you've said this software is cheap and it's possible I might need it later, right? So maybe you've said that. So you said, hey, I got to go ahead and get this. Maybe you've said this software is going up in price and I might at some point, I think I'm probably going to wish I had bought this, right? I have a feeling I'm going to wish I had bought this. This software does for cheap what others pay twice as much to do. Maybe you have said that. I mean, if you have said that before, it does this a lot cheaper than other people are paying a lot more for this. So yeah, I think I better get this. This software does what I would normally have to outsource, right? I would have to outsource this if I didn't buy this software. This software, if I use it, it could really make me money. Maybe you've said that before, right? This software will do something for me that I currently cannot do or I don't have the skills to do. Maybe you have said that before. So now, if you have said any of those things, I mean, that would just make you an internet marketer, right? That's typically how we come to these decisions, regardless of what the software is. But what do you need to know in order to make a good decision about buying software? What do you need to know? What must you understand about software before you buy it, especially for those of us who are the information marketing niche, right? Because we are always making decisions about software. We're making decisions about whether or not we should buy it, whether or not it's because of a launch, or whether or not we actually need it. So what do you need to know in order to make a good decision? Number 1, you must have a good handle on, some people call this your business model. I want to break this down into, I want to break this down even more by saying what actually puts cash into your account, right? What puts cash into your account? You have to know that, right? So what is it that puts cash into your account? And you have to be able to answer that. And then what are the steps that you were taking or that you took to put cash into your account? Even if it's not going as fast as you want, you must understand all this either has to be written out or it has to be firmly implanted in your mind. You have to know it extremely well. What are the steps, the exact steps that you are taking every single time to put money into your account, right? Very simple, but something that we don't tend to do a lot of, especially when we're making these decisions. We need to know how much time each step takes. You have to know that. And if you don't know it concretely, you have to have at least a vague notion of how much time each of those steps take that puts money into your account. You have to know why you're not making more. Right. So in other words, you probably maybe the fact of the matter is that, there's not 2 of you. Right. How many of you, that's the case? The fact your problem is the reason you're not making more isn't because you don't know what to do. The reason is maybe there's not 2 of you. You need 2 of you to make more. Right. Maybe that's the problem. Whatever you answer as to why you are not making more money. And if you're not making any at all, right, this is the question you have to answer before you buy software, because this is your bottleneck, right? This is where stuff is going in, but nothing is coming out, or not enough is coming out. It's a bottleneck. So in other words, what you and I have to do is we have to figure out what's causing us not to make more money, whatever we're doing. right? And I don't really care. I mean, you could be a service provider, you can be an affiliate marketer, you can be a product creator, you can be you can be a CPA. It doesn't really matter, right? What is your bottleneck as to why you're not making more? If you understand what puts cash into your account, right? If you understand what puts cash into your account, maybe you're generating affiliate commissions, you're not generating a lot of them, right? You're not generating them very fast. And remember, there's a time element to internet marketing. I didn't really talk about that, but there's a time element to internet marketing. Look, if you spend enough time, you can make money at anything, right? I mean, if you try a method and it takes you, it takes you 365 days in order to generate $10. I mean, it worked, but it just didn't work fast enough, right? So you and I have to figure out what our bottleneck is. We have to figure out what our time factor is. How fast do we want things to come out of our production? How fast we want to see ourselves making money? How much money do we need to make, right? We have to figure out the bottleneck. Why are we not making more in the time we need to make it? Now, here's the key question, right? What do you have to do to make more? And for some of us, this is where we have to spend the most time, right? We have to spend time. And if you don't write anything else down in your business on a daily basis, if you go get coaching, or you go get or you go and you're gonna spend time in a Facebook group, you have to understand what puts cash in your pocket, right? In your niche, in your market, for your product. Then you have to be able to answer the question, what do I have to do? This is an individual question. This is not a question that is a one size fits all question. And guess what? I know you well enough to know that as a marketer, you know the answer to this. Maybe the answer is, well, I don't know how to do Facebook ads, right? Or I don't know how to write copy, or I don't know how to find a product that will sell in the Warrior in Warrior Plus, or I don't have enough affiliates. What do you have to do to make more? And now, can I ask you a question? Now, even if you have stumbled around, how many of you would say that you personally, for your own business, know the answer to that question? Most of us do. So if you know the answer to that question for you, even if you haven't done it, I want you to put a why in the question box. What do I have to do right now to make more, right? Even if what you're not making is zero, right? What do I have to do? We recognize what our bottleneck is. We recognize what's in our way. We have to be able to answer the question, what do I have to do personally in order to make more? And then once you answer that question, right? Once you answer that question, you have to figure out, you have to be able to answer the question, what's keeping you from doing that? What's keeping you from doing that one thing? Is it because you don't have enough time? Is it because you don't have enough affiliates? Is it because you don't know how to do Facebook ads? Is it because you don't have a membership site? Is it because you do not have is it because you don't have, let's say, somebody that you can work that's working with you? Is it because you don't have the ability to create content? What is it right now that's keeping you, right, from doing what you have to do to make more? What is that? You should be able to answer. I'm pretty sure you can probably answer that. You know what's keeping you. And it could just be you just physically don't have the time. You've got some obligation, you've got a time constraint, you've got to finish certain things. And so right now, what's keeping you from making more could be, I don't have the time. I need two of me. Whatever that is, folks, whatever that is what is constraining you. Right? That is what is constraining you. Is everybody clear on that? That is your constraint. Remember, this is called the theory of constraints. This is your constraint. Whatever is keeping you from doing what you have to do to make more money, right? Whatever that is what is constraining you. And so here is the key point. What do you have to do to eliminate this constraint, right? What do you have to do? If you know what your constraint is, then the focus of your business right now isn't, and I repeat this, it isn't trying to find the next cool thing. It isn't really even trying to find the next way, the next new method. It's individual. It's focused. The question is, what do you have to do to eliminate this constraint? And you and I typically know the answer to that. And we don't know the answer to this. This is the answer that we have to go out and get, right? We have to go out, we have to figure out if the problem is that I cannot produce, let's say that I want to produce PLR faster, right? My problem is I can't launch fast enough. So I have to figure out, well, what's causing me not to be able to launch more? Right? What's my, and so what is my constraint? Is the constraint that it takes me too long to do a course? Right? Is the constraint that it takes me too long to do the JV recruitment process? What is it? I need to be able to answer for myself. And you need to be able to answer for yourself. What do you need to do to eliminate what is bottling you or what is constraining you? Now, here's what happens when you get to a bottleneck. Right, and you'll recognize some of these. I promise you. When you get to a bottleneck, here's what you do. You start looking around for answers on Google and YouTube. And I've heard people say, I hear people say this all the time, and I always laugh at this. When people say, you can find anything you want on Google and YouTube. Just go Google or just YouTube it. Well, I guess, have you ever gone to look for an answer for something on YouTube and you get 10 different videos with 10 different answers, as well as having to, just having to really listen in real time to somebody kind of stumble over the explanation, getting all the way to the end, you figure out, well, man, they didn't really answer my question, right? Sometimes Googling works. Other times when you're trying to solve, when you are trying to eliminate a constraint, researching on Google and YouTube is not always going to help you. Now, sometimes we'll look for workarounds. So in other words, we know what we got at, we know what's going to eliminate our problem. So we're looking for workarounds. We're talking to people. We're trying to look for examples, and we spend time doing this. We're looking for, and this is at the top. We look for free solutions. Right? We look for cheap and free solutions, which again, how many of you all know that? And I'm gonna do this for a second. I need to do this for just a second, because I want to go back to this. Now, if you buy a piece of software or if you find a solution and it's free, is the solution really free based on this equation? Is that solution really free? What do you think? Right? Based on this equation. Right? No, it isn't. If you find a software solution that's free, what do you still have? You still have the time cost. You still have opportunity cost. And this is what most marketers, myself included, at times we don't get, right? We don't necessarily always get this. Let's see. No, I should switch that back. Right? We don't get that there's a time cost and there's an opportunity cost. And this is what kind of throws people, because yeah, exactly what James says, you still have to learn it. And so because you still have to learn it, and because you still have the time cost and the opportunity cost, and look, the opportunity cost is huge, right? Because what do you have to do? You have to stop what you're doing, start on something else, then you got to come back to this if it doesn't work, and then you got to keep looking again. And so what I'm saying to you is that even if you find a free workaround, it's not always going to be free. Okay. Sometimes we'll spend time in forums and Facebook groups to help our workarounds work. How many of you all have done that? you get a workaround, And then what you do then is then you start spending time in a Facebook group and in a forum trying to get somebody to help you to figure out how to make your workaround work. I mean, it's, again, this happens to everybody, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just one of those things that you don't even realize until somebody really calls attention to it right now. And then what happens? We get discouraged and take a break. We get discouraged and take a break, right? Because it's exhausting. It is exhausting trying to figure out a workaround. So sometimes we'll get discouraged. We'll take a break. Sometimes we'll start, and this is when it happens. When we're taking a break, that's when we'll start looking at other opportunities, and we'll start looking at other information products. We'll start spending time on social media socializing, right? We'll spend time reading emails, and this is when we get sold to, right? And then, sometimes, this is even what happens. How many of you all recognize any of this? You will not necessarily want to, but you will end up on a sales webinar knowing you're about to get sold to, right? Knowing this is not a no pitch webinar. We go on the webinar anyway, knowing we're going to get sold to, right? And this is what happens when we hit a bottleneck and we start trying to overcome the bottleneck with workarounds. Okay, so here's what we have to do. Right? Here's what we have to do. And here's what it comes to eliminate to buying software is we have to eliminate our constraint. We have to eliminate our constraint. Now, can you buy something that will eliminate your constraint? I want you to, and so you have to really think clearly about what your constraint is. You have to be able to answer that question, because what you need to be buying, it probably is not going to come in the launch, right? So trust me when I say this, I'm certainly not talking about never buying anything. I'm not talking about getting off everybody's list. You need to know what's out there. I'm just saying sometimes when you buy it out of order, you're not eliminating the right constraints. Can you afford to buy something that will eliminate your constraint right now? Okay, so here's what's important. Which solution? Which solution can you implement? Which solution can you implement in the least amount of time? Which solution can you implement with minimal time and investment? Now, you know what the key word here is? The key word is you, right? The key word is you. I do not care if somebody says a piece of software is easy to use. What does it care? What does it matter to you if I tell you it's easy to use? What matters is whether or not it's easy for you to use. And so again, we have to be careful, not because people's products don't work. Typically, everything in internet marketing works. That's the problem. The problem isn't that the stuff doesn't work, and the problem isn't even that you don't have common sense. All of us do. But what happens is we don't take into account the time cost. We don't take into account the opportunity cost. And so we end up not understanding what we can implement with minimal time and minimal investment. How many of you all understand what I'm saying? If you get what I'm saying, please put the number 2 in the question box or in the live chat box. If you understand that. And so you have to understand that. And so here's the thing. I want to come back to this. All software purchases cost money, time, and opportunity costs. And if you don't understand that, if you don't factor that in, if that's not going through your brain when you make the purchase, what will happen is you can very easily, again, unwittingly, not because you want to, but you will just end up further behind than you were when you started before you bought this really cool piece of software. Right? And again, I'm not for not buying software. I'm all for knowing what's out there, and I buy software too. Listen, the software you're about to buy eliminate a bottleneck to making you money. That's it. This is the question, right? Does it eliminate? Does the software you're about to buy eliminate a bottleneck? Are you about to get rid of a bottleneck in your business? Are you sure about that? Right now, again, sometimes, software is, maybe it's $30 or $40 and you think, well, it doesn't, it's only $37. I don't really care. But the money cost, how many of you all know that the money cost is the smallest cost, right? That's the smallest cost of the equation. The biggest cost in the equation is opportunity cost. The biggest cost in the equation is the time to implement. It's not the money cost. It's not the money cost. And this is what's important for us to understand. And listen, trust me, when I understood this, I had to rethink everything, right? I rethought everything. And typically, even the way that I go about buying software, and I do buy software. And so the question is this: can you afford the money costs? Can you afford the time to implement costs? Can you afford the opportunity costs? And if you cannot, folks, with respect, and again, I'm not hating on anybody, and I'm not saying you can't buy what you want to buy. I mean, if you want to buy a piece of software and you want to eat it, that's your business, right? I mean, you all are grown people, but can you afford? Most of us, we can afford the money cost. The question is whether or not we can afford the time to implement costs and opportunity costs if we're not eliminating a constraint or a bottleneck in our business, right? And it is an important question. So let's go through the purchase process. You have to answer this question. If you are not eliminating a constraint in your business, why exactly are you buying? Right? Why exactly are you buying? If you're not eliminating a constraint, hear me on this. And this is probably, if I'm going to say something that's really important, it's this. It would be better for you to pay full price to eliminate a constraint than to pay a sale price, causing you to keep a bottleneck in your business. So in other words, you go out and you buy something at a sale price and you buy 3 of them in a month. And what you did was you took the money out of your pocket to buy the thing you know you need to buy to eliminate the constraint. Does that make sense, everybody? So if you get what I'm saying there, I want you to put the number 3 in the question box. In other words, if you buy 4 pieces of software during a month, and it keeps you from buying the one big thing that you know you need to buy in order to eliminate the constraint, what you're doing is setting yourself back. And again, it is not because the software these days is not cool. It's not even because it doesn't work. The problem is it does work, right? And you get started playing with it only to realize that what you're doing is you have not factored into this time cost and opportunity cost. It would be better for you. Listen, there's probably a price point that makes you nervous, right? And typically the stuff we know we need, how many of you all found this to be the case? The stuff you know that you ought to buy costs too much, right? Because you didn't see it in the launch, and now you're looking at it, man, this is more money than I want to spend. It's not nearly as much money as I want as the cool thing that's coming out for $37. Typically somebody's asking for $300 or $400. And you're saying to yourself, well, man, do I really want to spend that? And what happens is we are out of money to spend in our business to buy the thing we know we need to buy, because we spent the money on the stuff that did not eliminate constraints in our business. Now, the question is this: can you pay more for something can you pay more, even more, for something to eliminate the constraint that has a low to no learning curve, right? This is individual to us. If you're looking at something, you're saying, you know what, this is for me. Now it may cost more, but this thing is for me. And when you factor in the time that's going to take you to implement, right? Typically, if you buy that thing, right, the thing that's going to that has for you low to no learning curve, you will make more money faster in your business than if you bought the 10 things that kind of made you feel good, but didn't eliminate a constraint. The other question is, can you pay more for something to eliminate the constraint that can be implemented easy? In other words, can I get this going fast? If maybe you have a little team, maybe it's you and your kid, or you and your spouse, or you and your sister or your brother, and you're saying, you know what, man, if we got this thing, we'd be able to do this. This is what we're missing. And typically you're gonna go searching for this. It's probably not gonna come. Rarely does it come at just the right time. It rarely is somebody launching it at just the right time. You probably have had your eye on it, right? And you've gone to look at it and you say, you know what, this is exactly what I need. It just costs too much. Can now, and once again, I want to emphasize this. The question is, can you, right? Emphasis on you. Can you use the solution to eliminate the constraint? Can you, right? It doesn't matter to whether or not I can use it. It doesn't matter whether or not everybody in your Facebook group can use it. It doesn't matter whether or not everybody who's buying it can use it. What matters is, can you use the solution to eliminate the constraint, right? Not just can you use the solution. Can you use a solution to eliminate the constraint in your business, right? And that is a vital question. And here's another question. How long will it take before you're going to see some more money? Right? When you buy it, how long is it going to take? How long is it going to take before you see some more money? Right? Based on the time cost and based on the fact you're going to stop working on what you're going to work on in order to put this into your business. How long is it going to take before you see more money? Right? That's a question you have to answer, because it might mean maybe I need to sit this purchase out. Maybe I need to sit this one out. How long will it be before you can grow revenues as a result of this purchase? How long will it be before you can grow your revenues as a result of the purchase? Right? I mean, of course, I'm biased that I'm always biased that you can turn content over fast. And I understand that. I have a built-in bias, right? But I have just found this to be the case. And I'll give you a little personal anecdote. And I get a lot of questions because I was a partner, and I am a partner in a group that released some page building software. And they released it after I bought something called OptimizedPress. And I don't push OptimizedPress on people. I mean, I do mention it, but for me personally, right, I put off buying OptimizedPress because I didn't want to pay the money. And so I buy all this little stuff, right, all these little pieces of thing. Well, I don't want to do this. I want to see if I can get a workaround. I spent so much time trying to work with and again, if you like HTML, that's perfectly fine. I have nothing against HTML. I'm just saying I didn't know HTML and I'm trying to figure out, well, should I learn HTML? And I'm trying to do all these stuff. And then finally I just said, you know what? I don't really care what this costs. This is in my way. And I'm just going to buy it. And it changed everything for me. Right. And I'm not saying that OptimizedPress is going to change, because for you, it's something else. For you, it's something else. But I had to get over that. Right. I had to get over the cost. And so the cost was on my nerve. Yes, I didn't want to pay it. Yes, I wanted to buy all the things I liked, all the things that were exciting, all the things that really seemed like, man, this is really going to do it for me. And then not knowing that all those things had time cost involved. All those things had opportunity cost involved. And there is listen carefully to this. There's an opportunity cost to you not buying the thing you know you need to buy. Everybody who's listening to this, there's probably a piece of software you know you need to buy, and it costs too much, and you're not buying it, right? There is an opportunity cost to not buying it because you know how it fits in your business. You know you can make it work. Instead, you get discouraged. You say, well, I'm not going to buy it right now. And then somebody comes along and then you buy the exciting thing. And what that does is that makes you that much farther away from buying the thing you know you need. And how many of you all have ever had this to happen to you, right? As an internet marketer, you look up it's 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months later, and you still haven't bought the thing you know you need to buy. You're still looking at it. Right, you still wishing you could get it. You still wishing that you kind of wish you bought you'd spent the money, and so that's what happens. And so if we answer these questions for ourselves, right, we will be able to figure out whether or not we need to buy it. Listen, I'm all for buying software. I'm typically all for buying it at full price. Right, I'm saying buy it at full price if you have to. I don't care if you buy it during a launch. If you want to buy it during a launch, buy it. But the whether or not it's cheap or not doesn't answer the question. The question is, does it eliminate the constraint that's keeping you from putting more money in your PayPal account? Right? Does it eliminate the constraint that keeps you to put more money in your PayPal account? If it does, you need to buy it. Right? And if you don't have it, you have to figure out how to afford it. And if you don't know how to afford it, you can do a lot of things. Talk to the vendor. Do some, do some freelancing. Do some extra, try to generate some extra commissions. Sell some of your stuff on eBay. There are any number of things you can do, right? If you know that you got to have this thing, but it's in your way, you don't want to buy it because, man, it's $497. I don't want to spend $497. I remember the first time. I'll tell you another story. And again, I don't know if I'm the best copywriter or not, but it was a real stumbling block for me. And so, I had reached the point where I was just at my wit's end. Couldn't go any further in my business because I didn't even understand how to write copy. I didn't have a clue. And so there was a course. It was not on sale, right? Someone said, well, the best one you can get is by Brian McLeod. It's called, copywriting templates. I don't even know if they sell it anymore. And it was $497. I did not want to pay $497 for a copywriting course. I wanted to get the one, the one I wanted to get. And it doesn't necessarily have a name, but it was whatever one somebody came out with that was that was maybe on sale, or somebody was launching one, right? $27. That's the one I wanted. And guess what? It never did what the $497 course was going to do. And I knew I needed to buy these copywriting templates because it would give me a jump start. It would help me to put something on a sales page. I wouldn't have to go through the learning process. I could at least, as I was learning copy, get started. It was the constraint in my business at that point in time. And so eventually I just dropped the $497. Right? And again, that was the most freedom that I experienced in my business. Yes, I felt light in the pocket. Yes, I felt a little weird because I'd never dropped that much on a course. Because I've been trained that, courses are supposed to cost $17. Courses are supposed to cost, $3, all this stuff. But I dropped the $497. And it was the most freedom that I've ever experienced. And I took a giant leap in my business as a result of that, because I knew I had to have it. Right? I knew I had to learn it. I just had to stop buying. How many of y'all understand what I mean when I say you got to stop looking for workarounds? You got to stop looking for workarounds, right? You know what you need. Instead of buying all these little things that kind of come across because you're bored, or because you're discouraged, or because you're waiting for something to happen, or you get marketed to because you're on your email and you're on social media. Listen, get off all that stuff. Figure out how to get the money for the thing if you know you need to buy, let's say, a membership site, you need to buy it. And but let's say wish list member, man, I don't want to pay $397. You need to get the $397. You just get the $397. Go sell some stuff. Save some money. Generate some more commissions. Do some freelancing, some extra freelancing. Go get the money. Seriously. And I know, listen, and when I'm talking to you about this, and it might sound like I'm being a little harsh, I'm talking to the old version of me, right? Because this is the number one thing that in my brain I had to get over. And once I understood that putting off that purchase meant I was making less money, right? Just because you pay a lot of something that's going to fit in your business, and that is going to eliminate the bottleneck, right? You feel like, well, man, that's a lot of money to pay. And is it worth it? I can get this cheaper. And, they don't deserve it. It's not even the point, guys. It's not even the point as to whether or not you think they deserve it and they didn't do it. That's not even the point. The point is, can you eliminate a bottleneck? Can you eliminate a constraint in your business if you buy it? And this is the calculus that should be going on in your brain. And at this point now, I'll be quite honest with you, all this is happening. All this happens when I even look at something. And typically I'm not even looking. Somebody sent me an affiliate link last night for something that had come out about a page builder or something like that. And I think it's cool. I'll give you my honest opinion. I don't care. It probably does a lot more than what mine does. I don't care. I seriously don't care. You know why? Because it doesn't just cost money, right? It doesn't just cost money. It costs time. It costs opportunity. So I got to stop using OptimizedPress. I got to learn how to use this thing. I got to stop and I got to learn how to implement this thing. I got to teach Sydney what I'm doing with this thing. No, you know, really, seriously, no, I'm not doing it. And maybe, you know, maybe the guys who are doing OptimizedPress, maybe they'll come out with something that's similar to those features if you know, the users say it. But even if they don't, I don't care. Right. And I'm not saying that for you it's a bad purchase. I'm saying that for me, all this went on when I saw the offer. Right. I think there was another one called Builderall. I wouldn't touch it. I'm sure it works. I'm sure it works perfectly. I'm sure it's fantastic. I wouldn't touch it. And because, and it's not because of the money cost, it's not because it's not awesome, it's because of the opportunity cost and the time cost. Right? Now, here's the key. Here's the takeaway. Right? And here's what I want to leave you with. If the purchase you get sits on your hard drive, it's going to take capital away from the purchase you know you eventually need to make and the time you know you need to spend. Right? That's the truth. If whatever you buy, so if you're buying it because you think, man, I'm going to get left out, I'm going to get left in the dark, even if, right, let's say that you end up buying it 4 months later at full price, it's still better for you to do that, knowing you're going to eliminate a constraint in your business when you know you have it, rather than buying it and having it sit on your hard drive and costing you time. Right? And so these are the things that you kind of want to think about as you go through the purchase process. And it's based on, once again, The Theory of Constraints by Elihu Goldratt. And I will put the link in the YouTube video after this. So again, software costs equal money costs, time to implement costs, and opportunity cost. Okay, so if you are getting if you're not getting our daily newsletter and you're watching this, you can get on our newsletter list at the PLRshow.com. If you'd like to kind of get notice of these things, I do put them in the Facebook group. I'm trying to get better about that. So you can go to facebook.com/groups/the PLR show. And you can get all of our training at youtube.com/gain mind share. And if you haven't picked up our newest video course, which is on OptimizedPress, you can do that at the plrshow.com/new. You can get the bonuses as well as our new video course, Create Funnels with OptimizedPress. And if you are not on our newsletter, you know that there is a, we talked about something that I think John is doing. And it's actually a video course I recorded. It's a course that I recorded. So we put some stuff together, some resources that'll help you to use that course. So if you're interested in learning how to teach your customers or your coaching students how to keep their PayPal accounts open, that's a good course for you to be able to pick up. Okay, so any questions, anybody? Any questions? Any questions about anything we talked about? And I know I was going to go a little long tonight. This was something that I have been really on my mind to cover. Mainly because I mean, I've just been really seeing a lot of this recently, and I really just want you to be equipped to make good decisions, right? So I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, technically, I guess you could say there was something for sale, but I didn't do this so I could sell you software, right? So you could kind of rest easy about that one. Any questions? Well, okay, everybody. Well, thank you very much for being here tonight. We will not do this, 50 minutes. Typically, I don't typically go 50 minutes. I try to go 30 minutes at the most with questions. But excuse me, this is something that once again, I just really felt the need to kind of talk about with the folks who are in our community at Gain Mind Shares. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night, and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.